This weekend, a new tournament with a new formula has been introduced. It's the so-called Casablanca Chess variation. And what it is, I'm gonna tell you in this video. 4 top players are participating in a double round robin in the city of Casablanca in Morocco. And it is Magnus Carlsen, world's #1, Vishy Anand, former world champion, Hikaru Nakamura, and the strongest player from Africa, Amin Bassem. This is an incredibly interesting new idea to popularize chess. So how does it work? Here you see a position from move 10. It is from a game played back in 1889 from the World Championship match between Chigorin and Steinitz. So why is this actually interesting? Now, instead of starting from move 1, the organizers have come up with the idea to let players play random positions. And of course, the positions, they should be approximately equal, so that not you get a position that either side is just winning from the starting position. But, well, it's objectively speaking around equal. And the main point is that players are not able to prepare. So no computer preparation in advance. Players are just being shown the position just before the start of the game, and then they have to play in a rapid format. It's a double round robin, as I said, so the players are playing twice against each other. And in this video, we are going to look at the game of Magnus Carlsen against Vishy Anand. It's from this exact position, but you're of course interested how we get to that position. Let me show you the first couple of moves. E4, E5, knight f3, knight c6, bishop c4, bishop c5, b4. It's the Evans Gambit, which was really popular back in the days. Even there were some strong grandmasters who were playing it in the last few years still, but it's not the most common way of playing because it has been considered that taking the pawn is absolutely fine. However, after the move c3, attacking the bishop, bishop a5, castling kingside, queen f6, white occupies the center with both his pawns. So this looks nice. Knight ge7, trying to complete development. Bishop comes to g5, attacking the queen. And now the queen went to d6. This is not something we will see in modern chess. We know that the queen is not looking great here. However, after queen b3, castling kingside, rook d1, bishop b6, we have the starting position. And Magnus Carlsen deviated with the move knight a3 from the aforementioned World Championship game. In that game, Chigorin played pawn captures e5 with an attack on the queen, but the queen can just go away to g6 and everything seems to be okay for black. And black actually managed to win this game in 26 moves. However, Magnus goes for the move knight a3. He wants to let the knight join the action. So what can happen here? As I said already, the queen on d6 is not looking happy at all. It really wants to go somewhere. But how to organize your position? After 3 minutes of thought, Vishy played here the move knight to a5. So Magnus now has to deal with this threat of queen and bishop hit by that knight. The queen goes to a4. And well, there are several options, but taking the bishop is not very attractive here because of knight takes c4, and everything is hanging here. So instead, black played here the move knight from e7 to c6. He could have done the same thing by starting with capture on d4, and after c takes d4, you can put your knight on c6 as well. This may look strange, but also white's pieces are not that well organized on the queen side. And the main point is that if you hit the knight with a move like d5, there is the move queen to b4. So then black is surviving here, forcing the exchange of queens. Otherwise, the knight on a3 can just be lost. So let's take it back and see what happens in the game. After knight ec6, white has different ways of playing, and perhaps objectively speaking, the best move is to try to close the position with a move like d5 to attack the knight. And if the knight goes away, you have ideas to build up an attack with moves like knight h4, knight f5, or even a rook lift is possible. And there is definitely good compensation for the pawn, because black's extra pawn cannot be utilized here yet. But Magnus had a different plan. He decided to take on e5 anyway, to attack the queen in 2 possible ways, with a rook and with a pawn. But now Vishy, he made a very serious error by placing the queen on c5, but it's a very logical move. He probably could have better played the move queen g6 so that the queen is safe, cannot be harassed by any of white's pieces. The pawn on e4 is sometimes hanging as well, not immediately, because the queen also does indirectly defend the pawn with bishop takes f7 ideas. But anyway, queen is okay and anything can happen. But both players are on their own. It's a rapid game, 15 minutes plus 10 seconds per move. And being unfamiliar with the ins and outs, it explains the mistake made by the Indian former world champion. So he played queen c5, attacking the pawn on f2. And well, maybe you would guess here something like bishop e3 is a logical move to neutralize the threat and to attack the queen. But in that case, okay, queen can come back to e7 and, well, the queen is fine here and very soon the pawn on e5 can be eliminated as well. But look at this, Magnus, calculating like a machine, played here the move rook to d5, attacking the queen. The queen takes on f2 and here is king h1 and the king is absolutely safe in the corner. There are no checks, the rook is guarding the back rank still. And white also has a very annoying pawn on e5, which makes it harder for black to get the rook and bishop into play, while the minor pieces are also not looking too great. And very soon, I assume that white is going to place the rook on f1 with ideas probably to take over on the f-file. So this is very interesting. Black probably had anticipated this particular position and went here for the move queen b2. So he does attack the rook and also the pawn on c3, but there is a rook to b1. And here, I guess that Vishy miscalculated that he cannot really take on c3, because in that case, you're just able here to play the move rook to d3, and the queen is trapped. So that is a huge mistake by Vishy. And instead, he felt like, okay, then I better give up the queen. I don't want to go back to f2. So he sacrificed the queen on a3. But after queen takes, knight takes c4, black is attacking the queen on a3. But he has only two minor pieces for the queen. And if you now would have, let's say, normal development, let's say the bishop is out and the rooks are connected, maybe you can hope for some compensation. But here, I frankly speaking, I fail to see what's black's compensation here. So after queen a4, the knight is under threat. The knight can go back to a5, but you know that you don't want to place knights at the side of the board. So that doesn't look great either. So instead, knight e3 is played, attacking the rook. And maybe you're planning to go knight g4 and then give another check on f2. And with the help of the bishop, there are maybe some tricks here still against the king. However, Magnus is playing in a very clear manner. He even doesn't take on e3. So that after bishop takes e3, I mean, you're still fine. It's still queen versus two minor pieces. However, a much cleaner way to convert is to aim for simplifications with the move rook takes b6, eliminating the defender of the knight on e3. Now after taking with the pawn, you can even take the rook on a8. Knight takes d5, e takes d5. This is a queen versus a rook. Game over. Also taking with the other pawn, so that the queen can't take the rook in the corner. There is just bishop takes e3. That is the main idea. And here also it's queen versus rook, and that's not going to help black at all. So Vishy played one more move. Knight takes d5. You can take on d5 immediately, but Magnus played another very elegant move. Intermediate move. Rook takes c6. And now black resigned, because after taking it with either the b or d pawn, you take on d5. And here it's a queen and a knight versus two rooks. And well, that's not something you're going to test against someone you have played a world championship match with twice. So yeah, that was remarkable. I mean, basically the players played only 10 moves, considering the fact that they started on move 10 their game. But what is interesting is that with this short time control and the fact that players are not able to prepare for each other, you see that it leads to a lot of dramatic things happening on the board. And that's what we would love to see. Maybe this is not the real future of chess, but since this is round one of this Casablanca Chess event, I think it's a very promising start, and I'm looking forward to see many more games played with this format in general. So stay tuned for more exciting coverage from this event. Let me know what you do think or if there are any special positions you would like to see the players play. I think in this event in Casablanca, the formula is that 4 positions have been selected from the organizers, by the organizers, and 2 positions can be chosen by the online audience or the audience on site. So, well, maybe there are new ideas possible with this formula as well. Anyway, let me know what you think. Also, hit the subscribe button, and thanks for doing that. Thanks for all the support in the last days, weeks, months, year already. Really appreciate it, of course. So stay tuned for more exciting games on this channel. Bye bye.